Hi Maya,
Hi.
thank you for agreeing to be interviewed.
Sure.
So how did we meet?
So we met last night at the Fat Gay Vegans vegan potluck. I was at Syracuse University and it was just a ton of vegans coming together and cooking good food.
What's a potluck?
So potluck is generally where each person that comes brings a dish. So we had a vegan potluck. So it was all these amazing vegans bringing amazing vegan dishes, and we all got to share and try each other's dishes and swap recipes.
So do you like vegan food?
I love vegan food. I think most vegans, love vegan food. There's just such an appreciation that you get, I think, being vegan, and sometimes, especially me, where I'm traveling and being around, you can often feel forgotten when you look at different menus. So I think there's such a level of appreciation for good food that's vegan. So yes, we love food.
Yeah. You seem quite passionate about it.
I am.
What other passions do you have?
Yeah, sure. So I'm really passionate about social issues that not only affect me, but I think are really kind of sweeping the nation and really the world right now and are coming to light. So, I'm passionate about feminism. I proudly label myself as a feminist. I'm a political vegan. That's also something that I'm really passionate about. Passionate about equality and socioeconomic justice, people having the right to work for fair wages. All of those social justice issues, I would say, are really close to my heart.
What's a political vegan?
So for me, being a political vegan means that obviously, I'm a vegan and therefore I'm not consuming any meat products or any dairy products, but it kind of goes one step further. It encompasses being, an ethical vegan, but for me, political veganism is choosing to not support the meat and dairy industries as a political choice. So my money counts as political capital, and I'm choosing to spend my money elsewhere and not support a system that I see as morally corrupt. We were just chatting about the Sistah vegan project. She has a website and it's just so phenomenal and is such a great resource. But in terms of food deserts, if you don't know what a food desert is, it's essentially living in an area or part of town where you don't have access to fresh fruits, fresh vegetables. You basically live and shop for your groceries out of a bodega or corner store, which, obviously if you're not eating fresh fruits and vegetables, that's having a negative and deleterious impact on your health. So it can be, there are some difficulties that come about when you look at, being vegan, but also not living near fresh fruits and vegetables. And, I can understand that it's a hard choice for some people to make, which is why I, label myself as a political vegan. It's not just, I'm just eating vegan food, but I want that food to be accessible to everyone, and it has economic impacts. There are social impacts, socioeconomical impacts. So it's not just about food. It's part of a larger construct, and I think the system that we have right now makes it really difficult for a lot of families to afford fresh food and fresh vegetables, and that system needs to change in order for that's to be something that everyone can enjoy.
Yeah, definitely. So how can we change the system?
So I think in order to change the system, we actually do need to look outside of the system that we currently have. There's a really great work called For the Master's Tools Will Never Dismantle the Master's House. It's by Audre Lorde, and it's an incredible piece that at the heart is saying you can't fix something using the tools that was used to create this problem. And so we have such a large problem on our hands of not only, as I mentioned, but getting fresh food and vegan food to places that really need it. We have racial injustice. People are being discriminated against based on their race, class, gender, sexuality. We have such a massive issue, and the thing that I love about veganism is that it sees the connection between all of those things, that all of those isms don't just exist in a vacuum, but that the common thread is the patriarchy and oppression using patriarchal tools. So I think the way that we can help to solve that problem is to really start to open our eyes and see that it's not just, being vegan isn't just about eating vegan food, but that it's a larger, compassionate issue that if we all take part in, maybe something will change. But if something doesn't change, we need to create our own system that does have what we want and what we want to see in it.
So you travel a lot. So what's it like being a vegan and traveling?
So being a vegan and traveling, I think, is one of the most frustrating but also fulfilling things. At face value, you travel to a new country and you're looking at the menu. You're looking for a community of people who, are like-minded to a degree, and, it can just be absent, especially if it's a country where you don't speak the language. So, for instance, I was just in the Netherlands and I don't speak Dutch, so it was hard for me to try and find places where I could fit in and kind of get that sense of being vegan in the Netherlands. But I think the really fulfilling part about it is you look online and you have all those resources, but you can easily find all of these communities online and then get to interact with them in person. So looking for the vegan restaurants and vegan places in the Netherlands, going there, meeting the people, even if you don't speak the language, I think we're all kind of bound and binded together by food. So, sitting next to someone enjoying vegan food and we're trying to have a conversation, but we don't speak the language, but there's this incredible amount of fresh vegan food in front of us that we're able to bond over, has been so great, getting to meet people from all over the world to just have this common level of compassion and care and wanting to change things and wanting to be involved in social change. I think it's more than just tofu, which I think a lot of people want to paint being vegan as just about food, or there's often the argument that vegans are elitist and it's all about quinoa and kale, and it's difficult to combat that. But then you have experiences like mine where you're traveling and are united by your love of this passion, and I think that's where it becomes really evident that, wow, this isn't just about food, this is about something bigger than myself and being part of that community.
That's cool. So where are you traveling to next?
So on Sunday I will be moving to Melbourne, and so that's something that I'm really excited about. And I'm also in the process of trying to figure out how to open a vegan and gluten-free kind of bakery doing special order desserts. So that's also something that I'm excited to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I also have a Caribbean history, so I'm really excited to kind of see my personal background kind of be influenced and influence like these Caribbean vegan and gluten-free desserts.
Wow.
So it's something that I think will be really cool.
What inspired you to become vegan?
Oh wow. I think it's funny. I think, just either reading interviews or talking to older vegans. I've seen this happen with myself, but talking to older vegans, they've noticed how their veganism has changed over time and has meant different things to them at different times. So when I first became vegetarian, I was about 12. And I did that because I just knew something, I didn't feel right eating meat. I couldn't exactly verbalize it, but I knew that something was wrong. We always had dogs growing up, and I always thought it was so weird that we had, dogs, this one animal that we loved and cared for and looked after. But then my mom was also making chicken nuggets. And it was just like this dissonance that I couldn't really understand or explain. So I thought, I'm just gonna try to not eat meat. I was also going through a rebellious phase, and everyone in my family is really big on meat eating, so I think that was another way for me to kind of, set myself apart, and, I'm doing my own thing. And then I really enjoyed it, and I really kind of found this online community of people. Some of it was through PETA. I watched a few PETA videos. PETA, People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals, they're an organization. I don't necessarily align myself with them as much anymore, but I will admit that they were pretty influential when I was growing up. Just, I think it's really easy for non-vegans to kind of forget that the issues are there when they don't see it. But when you see a picture of what's happening inside of these slaughterhouses, and when you actually see those images, I think it's really hard for you to not be compelled by it. So that's what happened to me. I got this pita packet in the mail. It was like my vegan starter pack. You know, I'm watching all these videos of these exposés going inside of Tyson's and all of these major meat factories, and it was just so appalling. And I think that really it was a really easy decision for me to not want to participate in that. And I was 12, but it was really easy for me to just say, okay, I don't want to be a part of that violence. If there's a way around it, I just won't eat meat, I won't support it. And then as I got older, you know, when I was in college, I was involved in a feminist vegetarian co-op. So that was really great. Another chance for me to see how all of these things are connected. You know, they're not these disparate issues, but that they do, you know, weave together by a common thread. So that was a great experience to kind of open my eyes again to just, you know, the intersectionality of everything. And I think more recently, I've been reading a lot of authors who are vegan and just have some really incredible perspectives on the world. So that's why I label myself as a political vegan, because again, it's not just about food and what I'm eating, but you know, it's larger than that. There's this really incredible book that I've read probably 4 times now in like the past 3 months. I read it about a year ago, and I think it's changed my life. I actually have it in my bag right now. I'm going to a coffee shop after, and I'm reading it. It's called The Sexual Politics of Meat by Carol J. Adams, and it is just so fantastic. She, I think, has really pressed me and challenged me to think outside of myself and my individual opinions, but in my, you know, individual perceptions. But it's more about, you know, trying to live a life that has the least amount of impact on the environment, on other human beings, and just really trying to live a wholesome, clean life. But her book actually goes through the interconnectedness of sexism, the patriarchy, homophobia. What she does is she ties together pretty nicely the connection between sexism and misogyny, and the modern day, you know, animal industry and how we treat animals, and weaves those together. So that's just been one of my favorite books, and I think that has really kind of solidified my views in being vegan and what that means, and being open to meeting other vegans and just sharing stories like I am now. And you know, hopefully this reaches someone who, you know, goes out, reads that book, and is just more informed, and is an informed consumer and also human being. I think it's more than just, you know, money and who you're supporting and who you're not, but it's just, you know, a level of fulfillment that you can get.
Yeah, definitely. I'm gonna go read the book.
Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah, I might actually read that.
She's so good.
Do you have any tips for going vegan?
I think my biggest tip would be to have an open mind. I think veganism and what it means to be vegan can sometimes get a pretty bad rap, or people think that they know exactly what's involved, or it's just eating vegetables, or oh, I can't have meat, I can't have this. When, I mean, that's not really the case. I think being vegan, you're opening up yourself to a whole new world with all of these other flavors and cuisines and things that you may not get to have. So I think instead of thinking about it as being this limiting experience, I've always thought about it as something that's life-changing and opens your eyes to all of these other, not only foods, but cultures and issues that are happening in the world. And it's just, I think that's for me the most compelling reason that I continue to be vegan, is that it's not this thing that's limiting, but you've actually opened yourself to a whole nother community of people who are like-minded. And that, I guess, that keeps me motivated at night.
That's great.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for doing the interview.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for doing the project.
Thank you.